Welcome to another episode of Edison Means Business. And today I would like to introduce Arnie Goldstein. He is the COO of Hellman Worldwide Logistics. Barbara Roos, President and CEO of the Edison Chamber of Commerce. And Nick Alpa. And Nick is the General Manager at Hellman Worldwide Logistics. Welcome to all of you, and welcome to Edison Township. Hellman Worldwide Logistics is relatively new to Edison Township. And tell us a little bit about when you came to Edison and one of the reasons why Edison was suggested or preferred for you to come to make your home.
Sure. Thanks, Mayor. And Barbara, thanks for inviting us. We're really pleased to be here today. We look at New Jersey and Edison as one of our major opportunities, major branches for us in the United States. We see great opportunities with local businesses as well as headquarters with worldwide corporations located here. We came to New Jersey in '96, actually, and in 2008 we moved from Newark, New Jersey, into Edison, to our new home here at the Raritan Center, and we find the facilities excellent, and the proximity to the ports and proximity to the airport is really the driving factor for being in New Jersey, and more importantly, being in Edison.
Wonderful. And Nick, tell us a little bit about what you do as General Manager.
As the general manager for the Newark office, or the Edison office, basically, it is my responsibility to grow the business and to work with the group of people that we have in there to ensure that the customer satisfaction and to grow business to be able to build up the P&L.
What is
the bottom line?
The bottom line.
Oh,
Profits.
Oh.
Profits.
Very good, very good. And Barbara, these two gentlemen are here with us today. What fostered your interest in their company to ask them to be guests on our program?
There's a couple reasons. One, because logistics and warehousing is very much part of New Jersey, and particularly Edison. Any time of day you can get out there and see lots and lots of trucks. And you circulate around the area and you can see lots of warehouses too. Nick is also on the board of directors of the Edison Chamber, and I was familiar with Ron Huff when he came years ago to introduce himself in the company. I was very interested, and I was interested in what merchandise he had in that warehouse. So I see this company, the Hellman Worldwide Logistics, as one of the most, it's global, but one of the most successful companies here in the Edison, New Jersey area. So I was very interested in asking the question about the geese. And I know the gentlemen have a very interesting story to tell us about the history of the company, because it's not just here in the States, but it's worldwide. And it started over in
Osnabrück, Germany, in 1871. We are actually one of the largest still privately held freight forwarding and logistics companies in the world. Fourth generation Hellman family-owned business, and again started in 1871 in Osnabrück. And the geese really is an interesting story, Barbara, because it's one of the foundations of we call it the DNA of the company. And if I could share the story with you, it goes back again to the original Hellman family, and it really comes out of the family crest. The family crest, which was designed again for the family. The geese were meant to represent finding somebody that you can soar with. And if you may not know this, I didn't know this till I joined Hellman, of course, is that geese are monogamous, and so they mate for life. Yes. They are also very cooperative. If you look at geese and in formation, the lead goose will get tired maybe, and then another goose or geese takes the forefront and leads. Well, when the company was founded, and the geese were adopted as our logo, it was really meant to represent the same sort of spirit, the spirit of finding a partner. And in the old days, it was a partner in relationships. In our speak, it's a partner in terms of customers, employees, vendors, and suppliers. That we should have a relationship that it transcends just transactional activity and is really about soaring and growing together. And so we've adopted that in all of our collateral and really in the spirit of who we are.
Well, it sounds as though you've taken family values to a higher level.
Yes.
Which is really very nice.
Yeah.
Barbara mentioned, of course, that you're located in Raritan Center. And, of course, we're just about at the first anniversary of Superstorm Sandy. Were you affected at all by the superstorm?
We were very well affected by Superstorm Sandy. The whole office and the warehouse had water inside of it, approximately 2.5, 3 feet of water inside. We had approximately several customers freight in the warehouse as well. Figure 78,000 square feet of warehouse that was impacted by this, where there was about 1,700 skids just on the floor alone. So we had a huge impact on it. And the office again, everything had to be demolished and redone again, from the carpets to the walls to new tables to new computers. Just everything in the office is brand new.
So you were up and running.
We were up and run. Yeah, we lost about a week. We were lost about close to a week of service,
Right.
because all the computers were gone. We had to get equipment and stuff. But we thank God for our colleagues in other areas where we turned around to, and our vendors, and they opened their doors up for us and said, you can come use our facility until you get yourselves back into your own facility. And we also have a facility in JFK as well, where we shuttled some employees over there to work out of that facility.
I think that's, if I could say, that's an interesting story about why we think Edison is a great home for us. During that period in which we had the storm, our employees who were affected, just like everybody else in the area, no power,
Right.
Obviously no electricity, congestion, children home from school. Most of the employees actually came to work.
Wow.
Even leaving their homes in the dark, and which I think is a reflection of the spirit of the town, and the working ethics of the town, and in addition to that, our suppliers and vendors. So the other companies in the area also opened their doors to us, as Nick mentioned, and allowed us to operate. Even though we couldn't operate from our facility due to the water damage, we actually operated from conference rooms within our own suppliers' warehouses or offices. So it really is a reflection of the community.
Well, that is what good news to hear. I mean, again, we never want to suffer another
Yes, of
storm, certainly of that magnitude. But knowing that people and companies extended themselves on your behalf so that you could continue your business, that is, to me, it's phenomenal. We hear so much about not competitive spirit, but very often, I mean, because I think competition is very good, but sometimes we hear about negative competition. And what you're describing really is really very wonderful and very positive.
What kind of products do you have in your warehouse at any given time? What types?
We have anything from household goods to food-grade products. So anything you can buy from a Bed Bath & Beyond, you could order from Amazon, to items that you could actually use on construction of your home, to items that actually go into food grade.
If you look at our commodities that are in our warehouse, I mean, generally speaking, we are general commodities, freight forwarding, but we do have both in the United States and on a global basis what we call global verticals. Okay.
What's a global vertical?
A vertical would be concentrations or focuses in specific industries and markets. So we have quite a few. Here in New Jersey, we have a very strong concentration on healthcare and pharmaceuticals, automotive,
chemical,
fashion and retail, and chemicals and specialty products. And there's a lot of crossover between all these quote verticals in terms of expertise and experience, but we find that it helps us quite a bit in serving our customers.
Can you describe exactly what logistics is, from the time that you have a contract with a customer, how the product goes here, and what exactly is logistics? It's the transportation of a product?
It's the transportation of a raw product, a finished product, and anywhere where it's going up to the store shelf to be put out for display for consumption or to be bought for home good for whatever reason. Pretty much on the logistics end, if you really think about it, it's not just the trucks that you see on the road. It's everything that's flying in around the world. It's things that are coming on our ocean as well. And, everything somehow or another has to move from one point to another. So all that is what logistics is. It's trying to ensure that the supply chain or its factories not shutting down because they're running out of material to get it to whatever point it needs to go to. There are items that are raw materials that are made in the U.S. or there are in the U.S. that have to go to other places in the world to be made into a product to actually come back here again to be sold.
So it's assembled over here. It starts over here. The raw product. It goes.
It could be any. It could start anywhere. It could start here. It could start in Europe, Asia, anywhere in the world. There's no real point of where it starts from. It's just where the product is actually made.
So how does that impact like foreign trade zones? Is that important to your company?
Sure. I think foreign trade zones are important to our customers. We operate a number of foreign trade zones in the United States today. Foreign trade zones, as you probably know, allows a company to import goods into the U.S. without clearing customs, being able to manipulate those goods in some way or fashion, and then extract those from the foreign trade zones, pay the duties and taxes as the goods are required. So it's quite a benefit for industry to have a foreign trade zone, and it's quite, I think, a draw for you to have one available here in Edison as well.
Well, knowing what we see here in New Jersey, in particular Edison, it sounds like logistics is moving forward rapidly, and there's a lot of job potential. So if I was interested in that kind of industry, what would I need as education to get a job in that industry, logistics?
Well, I think if logistics has always been a relatively easy industry to break into because the entry levels can be desk level opportunities. We don't often require higher college degrees, so folks who do come out with high school degrees can find opportunities to grow. It's really more of a career than a job, and so the entry level functions, desk level, warehousemen, truck drivers, these sorts of opportunities do give individuals the opportunity to advance into more senior roles and into branch manager roles or into corporate roles and certainly in the area of sales.
I was going to say, I want to make more money, so I want to get into sales, I think.
Right. It's not an easy job, by the way, so selling in logistics.
How do you get new customers? How do you reach out to get new customers, worldwide customers?
It's my boss asks that all the time. I think acquiring new customers or gaining new customers in like all industries, it's about a value proposition. So for us, we have to be able to differentiate ourselves from our competition. We have to be able to demonstrate that through a value statement, a value proposition, and then of course have the execution behind that to prove that we actually can do what we say we can do. We're unique. Hellman is unique because we are a fourth generation privately held company. Unlike a lot of our competition who are big corporate logistics companies driven by Wall Street or shareholders, we're able to apply a family DNA and culture to the company and to our customers. So that's one area. We're also a very flat organization, which means simply to go from the branch manager to the senior executives in the United States to our owners is about 2 or 3 phone calls. And that means our customers have access to the most senior folks in the company. We also believe in entrepreneurship, and so folks like Nick are able to make the decisions that are required to provide the quality of service that our customers come to expect. So again, we don't get hung up in bureaucracy and egos, hopefully, that it's really about, as Nick described it earlier, the customer experience. And so for that reason, going out and acquiring customers, it's about being able to get in front of them and be able to articulate that sort of value proposition. And then, of course, the proof's in the pudding, right? So you have to actually deliver. And so we have a very high level of service, and our teams are always measured on what we call KPIs, so key performance indicators, and they're held accountable for those KPIs on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So it's again about the customer experience. And if you talk to our owner, Yost Hellman, he would say exactly the
Same
same thing. He spends majority of his time doing nothing but visiting clients. So
And is he in Germany, or is he in here? Is he here in the
he's
States?
based in Osnabrück,
He still
actually in
is.
Hamburg, in Germany.
Right.
Actually, he opened up, again, another interesting story. He opened up the United States in '81 in Los Angeles, and it was the first office. And then he moved the corporate office from Los Angeles to what is now our office in Doral, Florida, and expanded it from 1 to 25 offices in the U.S. And so he has a certain, place in his heart for the United States. So he spends quite a bit of time here.
Very good. I'm going to ask a more local
Sure.
question, because I'm the mayor of the
Sure, and I'm
Edison.
sorry, yeah.
How many people do you employ?
As-
Right here in Edison, in Raritan Center.
And right now we employ 51 people,
Very good.
and we're actually expanding that.
Oh, that is wonderful.
So we are looking to expand.
So
Okay,
do we
so-
apply?
Right now.
Do we apply with you, or do we apply for an agency, or how do
Yeah.
we get a job?
You apply through us.
directly.
Very good.
Directly through us.
Okay, so we can put like your contact on the screen so that people will know that they can send in applications and resumes to you?
They can go on the website.
Oh, okay.
They'll show whatever openings there are
Right.
to be able to apply to, and it'll run them through the process of what they need to do to apply for a position.
And can you give us a little background on how logistics plays into the cruise ship industry?
Oh, sure. The cruise industry is one of the verticals that I had mentioned earlier, and our cruise vertical is based in Miami, as you can imagine, which is where, the majority of all the cruise lines are headquartered. We run a 200,000 square foot warehouse for one of the major cruise lines that based in Miami, and as you can imagine, a cruise vessel is nothing more than a floating hotel, or probably a floating hotel plus, and they come to port and they have about 4 hours in which they need to unload passengers and then load on the vessel all of the supplies required to run the facility, the hotel, feed the guests, have the champagne, the gambling equipment, and so forth. So we actually supply that from their warehouse, and we have about a 4-hour window in which they're at port, in which we need to do that. Otherwise, the vessel leaves.
Right.
So quite a bit of pressure, and on the logistics side.
Right. And vessels do leave when they say,
Oh, they leave.
for whatever time they say, they leave at that time.
Right.
And if you're not on board, they're going without you. Correct?
Exactly.
And that's without the supplies or without the passengers, correct?
That's-
Or even crew members, for that matter.
Right. Like you can't imagine they don't hold too many vessels for the late passenger coming
Right.
up on the deck there. So you're right. Yeah.
Are there future plans for Hellman's Worldwide that you might be able to share with us?
Sure. Thanks for asking. We continue to reinvest in our business in IT to ensure that we're also able to provide our customers with the state-of-the-art IT technology in terms of information, which is a big part of logistics. We're continuing to invest in areas like renewable energy, being able to provide logistics support, supply chain support to the renewable industry side of the equation. We also have a very interesting vertical in terms of what we call NGO, which is non-government agencies, so it's the charitable side of the house.
Oh.
So we provide logistics and supply chain support in those areas as well. Around the world, we're really investing every day in new offices as companies source from different places around the world. We have to be able to follow them. So where today it might be in China, and tomorrow it might be in Vietnam, next year it may be someplace else, right? So we have to be able to follow them, or actually lead them, be there before they're there.
Good point.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we will continue to invest in Edison. As Nick and his team is successful in growing our business here, we hope to expand our facilities and employee pool and continue to support the economy here in Edison, because if you really think about it, Mayor Barber, every dollar we spend is in the local community here in terms of vendors that we're utilizing, whether it's trucking companies, paper goods, the warehouse. So we really do feel that we are part of the community.
Very good. Well, what a pleasure to have both of you with us, all three of you. Sorry, Barbara, I didn't mean to overlook you. But this, I think, has been a very, very interesting segment. and I think something that will really interest our viewers. I thank you both for being here.
Thank you,
Nick,
Mayor. Thank you very much.
Arnie,
Nice to meet you.
and of course Barbara. And we look forward to seeing you at our next Edison Means Business.